Well, the group stages are over. One of us is still watching the World Cup. The other is, well, slowly starting to watch final friendlies.
The Euro under 19s.
Oh
They
yeah, I mean Croatia lost yesterday 3-1 to Ukraine. I followed the first half, couldn't follow the second half. Second half was obviously more dreadful by the looks of it, but first half was okay for us.
Unfortunately, they're the other side of Wales from me. Otherwise, I would definitely be going to a game.
A game,
Probably
yeah.
Serbia Croatia because it's on the weekend.
That's
Um,
interesting.
but yeah, I mean, I was able to watch the Serbia game. Couldn't see the Croatia game because it was out last night. But yeah, I mean, it's a decent squad.
Yeah, I mean, all these under 19 squads look good. Serbia especially. Like I mean, I'm scared. I don't really give too much of a rat's ass about the under 19s, but I do want us to do well because obviously we need success. And didn't Serbia under 21s or under 19s win a World Cup like a decade ago now?
Under 20s, 2016, yeah. But
Yeah.
we should be honest. We're here to talk about what the over 40s.
Well, we have one guy that's over 40. The others are close, but half of them. But the other half of the squad is pretty darn good that we've learned. But yeah, Croatia has finished second in their group, as many of us predicted, probably, as many of you probably predicted, behind England. Sadly, I spoke a little bit about the two games we played before Ghana on the Croatian Sports podcast. If some of you catch that, but yeah, it was an interesting opening game to say the least. 4-2 loss. Harry Kane gets a very early penalty after a Modric mistake. They get a corner, and then Modric, with a late reaction, catches. I forgot who it was now, but catch
Madueke.
Madueke. Yeah, catches Madueke, who gets to the ball first at the top of the box. Penalty. Livakovic saves and was this much off the line, and obviously Kane scores the second one. Livakovic wasn't listening to Stanisic, who was pointing to the same direction, being like, "Hey, he's gonna do this," and he did it. Livakovic sadly dove the wrong way, but it was a much better penalty the second time because Kane did not stutter. This time he just went full into it.
Yeah, I mean, I think, I mean, possibly we sort of learn a bit more about stutters from last night's games as we record on this
Oh
Tuesday
yeah,
in terms of
oh,
Germany and Netherlands and Morocco and Paraguay. But I think possibly, and obviously I don't like stutter step penalties. No one likes stutter step penalties. And I think, to be honest, if you are, this is possibly something IFAB should look at,
yeah,
is that if you're doing a stutter step penalty and using your timing to try and throw the goalkeeper off, well then you shouldn't be penalising the goalkeeper for being thrown off.
yeah. I because it's run stop. I mean, I do get it. Obviously, a lot of players do it. I mean, Kramaric does it every time he does a penalty. Modric, I think, did it a few times, even at the World Cup. I think against Denmark when he missed in 2018. Uh, yeah, I mean, something has to be done because at the same time, I'm just like, just run and shoot. Like by stuttering, you just take momentum away from your shot.
Yeah, I think I mean, sort of growing up, of showing my age, of the main striker in the UK being Alan Shearer, and his
Yeah,
technique was simply run and hit it very hard into the corner.
yeah. Also,
That's what you want to see.
let's just shortly to touch on the Netherlands getting knocked out and Germany. I'm surprised by how little players go down the middle.
Yeah, I think it's
I was watching yesterday. I was just like Vlasic and Meyer against. I think Vlasic. Yeah, Vlasic both times in 2022 when he shot first, went down the middle, scored both. Both times went high. So even if the goalkeeper does stand in the middle, he still has to react. It's not just he can just save it with his legs, no problem. Meyer, same thing. I'm just surprised that more players don't. Obviously, not Panenka it because that's obviously lot more riskier. But shoot it down the middle.
I think that's the thing. If you it but it looks worse if you
If
take a
you
shot straight
miss,
down the middle and you miss, and you
yeah,
will either put it over, because obviously there is more of a risk in terms of just the angle you're taking the shot at. If you're putting power straight down the middle,
yeah,
there is more of a risk that you get loft on it. But also, just if the keeper does save it, then it looks worse if the keeper doesn't have to move.
yeah, obviously. But yeah, I'm just saying, like, I don't think a single penalty went down the middle. I didn't get to watch Netherlands Morocco live, so I don't remember it that well. But Paraguay Germany, nobody went down the middle.
Yeah.
But yeah, Germany Netherlands are knocked out. I mean,
Hmm.
Netherlands and Morocco are, it was a 50-50, to
Yeah,
be
that wasn't a
honest.
surprise.
Yeah, I've seen some people like calling it, a surprise, and I'm like, guys, Morocco made it to the semis of the last World. They're African champions on the pitch.
If you're making that
No,
argument, then there were three
Senegal is.
surprises yesterday.
Well, yeah. I mean, Brazil. I mean, that Brazil side, they got away, but Japan is like their own worst enemy.
Hmm.
They're like,
Yeah.
just drop down in a low block. Why against Brazil, against Vinny Martinelli? I wouldn't dare. I mean, unless you had Livakovic in goal. Suzuki did well,
Mhm.
but yeah, it's just their own worst enemy, and it's shocking how always in some dramatic fashion they get knocked out. But yeah, back to our opening game.
Yeah.
Yeah, after Kane scored, Martin Baturina scored an absolute beauty. Pickford got a small hand to it, pun intended. Uh, but it went in. What a goal! And somehow Perisic, at 37 years old, leapfrogs. I mean, somehow 37 is a perfectly good age, but it's shocking how good of a athletic state he is in, especially after he tore his ACL. That he can leapfrog Baturina, who is pretty tall. I think he's at the average height in Croatia, or just under it. Uh, then we concede from a corner. We leave Harry Kane wide open somehow at the top of the box, and I mean, Kane just scores goals, and it's not even a question. We then again, very similar. Like, I'm shocking how many people didn't say this. Like, just from talking to friends and other fans, nobody realized how similar that goal is. The second goal from Musa is to our goal against Morocco, third place. Except this time, Perisic hung it back, but Musa scored with his foot, not Guardiola with a header. But again, Perisic just great awareness and just great ability to even have the mindset to not go like this to try and get it on target, but to head it down for Musa. Brilliant. And at that point, momentum was ours, and then we come back into that second half looking like, I don't know, like everybody had diarrhea in the dressing room for 15 minutes.
I mean, that sort of 15-minute blast from England aside, I think, and this is probably something that's not been said very often over the past 9 years. This is the one game where Zlatko Dalic really got it wrong.
Yeah,
And I think you sort of excuse the players, excuse a lot of things. I think this is one where he's come in with a game plan and it's been the wrong game plan. From if you're looking at it from an England perspective, from a scouting perspective, it's been letting Wigan play 3-4-2-1 for
yeah,
months, and we've tried it and we've done this. You're not launching a surprise, so they've had ample time to prepare to counter it, and they did very well. Particularly because they could get at a not fully fit Guardiola, because they knew
yeah,
they could get in behind Perisic, because they knew they could challenge Stanisic on the right, and ultimately because they could find space between defence and midfield, because Modric couldn't do the running. And again, it's not something you said very often over the past 18, 19, 20 years, but Luka
yeah,
Modric had a bad game. But he was made to look that by how England set up. And then we sort of seen in the other two games in the group, Ghana set up just to frustrate them, and did. Panama set up just to frustrate them, and did. So you'd
yeah,
assume Congo will set up to frustrate them and will. Um, it's quite novel because if you sort of think if Croatia had just played as normal Croatia,
Yeah,
um,
like we did against Ghana and a
yeah, exactly
little
like you
bit
did against
against
Ghana,
Panama.
what what possession would England have? What creativity would England have? What
Yeah.
questions would England be answering? Um, but sort of when you play with that gap in behind Modric, you can't be surprised when it's exposed. It's obviously Dalek just sort of said we're going to play this formation because we think this is the formation that's actually going to hide our lack of pace and actually, it exposes it more than ever.
Yeah, because we tried pressing high, and obviously our defensive, our free center backs were not not as tight as they should have been to the midfield, and you just leave a lot of space for Modric, Sucic, Baturina to cover.
Mm.
And Perisic obviously likes being high, and but when you're pressing high, Perisic is gonna be high, and that leaves Guardiol wide open, which is what happened against Panama as well. Obviously, not excusing Guardiol, who absolutely got rinsed every single time he faced somebody. Uh, just obviously isn't up to speed. And I said, if we're gonna play him, it has to be at center back. I don't think he can't play at left back at this point, and Perisic looks like a much better option, especially against Ghana and how he played that game. And that is a typical Croatia game, mid block, just use possession, and our defenders did a much better job. Pongracic didn't do a good enough job against Panama. Shutala was meh in both first games, and then against Ghana turned it up a little bit. But yeah, against England we tried something different. Obviously, it didn't work out. Uh, there were some nice moments. We had some good attacks in the first half. I think in the first half we were much better obviously than the second half. But it was sad to see how fast we fell apart in the second half. And Vuskovic, I want to see your thoughts on this on the third goal when Bellingham obviously ran through and Vuskovic. Bellingham has a bit of a heavy touch, and Vuskovic can go in and tackle him.
Mhm.
Obviously stays back. I think Madueke was running in behind and was trying to have cover Madueke, and then obviously nobody was covering Bellingham at that point, and what happened.
But I mean, again, obviously Bellingham had a good amount of pace already at that point in terms
Yeah,
of, yeah, I suppose at that point, when you're 2-2, are you really going to go down, go to ground and potentially give away a red card to Dogso? Or are you going to, like, okay, we might just have to, I'm going to rely on my keeper here. I think Vuskovic has probably been pretty unlucky in not turning out again this tournament so far.
yeah. Well, we can talk.
Because,
We'll touch on that. I'll
yeah,
touch on that.
he's just posting Livaja memes.
I swear to
Um,
God, too early. Well, we'll
but
we'll keep that for the end of the episode.
yeah, um, I mean, I think, as a deputy, Pogacar has always been absolutely fine. He's never
Yeah,
really let the team down. I think a lot of the talk before the Panama game was that he'd be swapped around and it'd be Chadikar playing, which
yeah.
would be insane, because he got rinsed playing four at the back by Montenegro. I mean, okay, maybe Montenegro aren't much worse than Panama, but
Yeah, but at the same time, Charlotte Tetzar hasn't played since May
yeah.
For Real Sociedad, and he also had an injury during a small injury during the friendlies and didn't get a minute there. And so I think it's wild to even think about starting him. I've also seen today by Sportska Novosti they posted that Dalic had a long conversation with Charlotte Tetzar. So does that mean that he starting against Portugal? I'm like, guys, if he starts against Portugal, what are we doing? We have Erlich
Losing.
who did a we have Erlich who's good. Like he did a good job against Slovenia, uh, considering the mistakes that happened in front of him. Uh, I think and Erlich has I think been a much better player for us in bigger games. Nations League 2023 uh, just showed up. So I don't know why would And again, this also comes back to the point that we brought in too many defenders and too many midfielders.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, I mean, I think as we sort of indicated at the start of the tournament, the issue was not bringing another fullback.
Yeah,
Now, obviously, there were reasonably solid reasons for that in terms of the fitness and form of Juranovic, but yeah, I mean, I think this is sort of where it lands. On one aspect, they needed Guardiola to be fitter than he
yeah,
is, which isn't his fault. And on the other, they don't want to risk Vuskovic alongside Suslo in a four for whatever reason. And then you end up with playing, let's say, Pangracic, whoever, who are fine pros, but a noted step down.
yeah,
There's no way around that. Now they can, it's sort of we look at how Bosnia have done in terms of they've got Nikola Katic. We know Katic is a limited player,
yeah,
but they obviously set up in a way that excels his strengths and protects his weaknesses. And that's sort of what you do when you are having a suboptimal choice
yeah,
in the centre of your defence. You make sure you play in a way that they're protected. And Illich and Magracic are still classy players. They're not
yeah.
they're not jobbers or anything like that. It is just actually the real top end of the Croatian centre back is top class.
Yeah, obviously Schutel is a very good defender. Hasn't had the best of times in the last two seasons at Ajax. Guardiola, I mean, just even the fact he's just at the World Cup, just that he's here is a wonder,
Hmm.
considering he broke his leg. Uh, Kovacic as well, also a very good recovery. Uh, we'll get to the double pivot of Modric Kovacic, how it can work as it did against Ghana, and how it shouldn't work against Panama. Uh, but yeah, I mean, to get to Vuskovic, I don't understand playing him against England and then not giving him a single minute against Panama and Ghana, especially considering that he's prospect wise he is the biggest prospect in the squad.
Yeah, I mean, from a mental perspective, from a coaching perspective, quite aside from a management and winning games perspective,
Yeah,
you know, he plays against England. He did absolutely fine against England. He wasn't bad or anything like
yeah,
that.
like not, he wasn't at fault. We can obviously
Yeah.
some people have scolded him. I partly scold him because I nobody made any tackles. Like Petar
Hmm.
Sucic, I think he lost the ball or whoever did right before Bellingham scored. Should have made a foul. I think Perisic actually, sorry,
Hmm.
should have made a foul. Nobody made a foul
No,
in that
but
in that whole game. No yellows were given, and every single time he got caught out in a transition, I'm just like a foul. Just pick up
mhm.
a yellow and you're free. We can defend,
Well,
but no,
that's
every
it.
single time we got rinsed,
That's
especially second half.
particularly when you're turning the ball over so high that you're not
Yeah,
getting a chance to set. But I mean, say sort of back on Vucevic, so in that England game, he was fine. Of the three centre backs that were deployed, he was probably the most competent of the three. I
yeah,
don't think it's I don't think it's unfair to say that to the other two. Um, but I say so from a coach's perspective, he's probably come out of that game like, oh, we've conceded 4 goals. He's probably kicking the walls and
yeah,
annoyed, and then in the two easier games, he doesn't come on. You've got to think sort of where's your mindset at now? It's like, okay, what did I do wrong? And sort of taking that blame upon himself, I'd imagine. And that's just not really how you should coach a young player,
yeah.
because you've sort of got to manage that confidence. Because at the end of the day, he's going to be contributing for the national team for the next decade and a half.
Yeah, I mean, unless injuries somehow hamper him so much, but he's definitely going to be in the national team for, as
Yeah.
you said, 10. Well, I mean, not even 10, 15, if he has a good long career.
Mhm.
Uh, but I mean, it also strikes me very wrong that pundits and even Dalic at points in his press conferences essentially said, "Oh yeah, we can only play Vuskovic as that middle center back. He cannot play in a four," which is like he's played in a four at the back every season up until this season.
Mhm.
Radomiak, Westerlo, Hajduk, he's played four at the back. Only at Hamburg has he been the central in a free at the back, and
Mhm.
obviously that works very nice for him when it's a low block and he's the middle center back. Very good for him. Uh, we've also seen it for the national team, but lesser games he did fine, nothing spectacular so far, but fine. And I mean, it's wild to me that we didn't give him like 20 minutes against Panama, last, because especially because Pongracic was bad in that game.
Yeah, or I mean, even so, as it is with Vardiol, give him 10 minutes at the end of the Ghana game,
Yeah,
just to say, okay, actually, the team's playing quite well. Get on there, knock the ball about a little bit, get a little bit of more confidence under your
yeah,
back, under your belt.
yeah. And now I feel like if you put him on against Portugal or any, if we go further, if you put him in any knockout game now, I think you're just setting him up to fail if he makes a mistake.
Mhm. Yeah, and particularly as, let's be honest, you're not going to play three at the back again,
No, we won't.
um, because
That's a
otherwise
hundred
he's not
percent.
going to. Otherwise, he's not going to turn out. So you either got to take a chance on him, which I don't think is much of a chance to take on him. I think he'd be absolutely fine, or you're committing to, and this will happen. At the point at which Croatia go out, people will turn and say, "Well, why didn't you play
Yeah,
Vuskovic?"
yeah. I think that's definitely gonna be, especially if Pongracic, Shaltetsar, Erlich, or even Guardiola, if he gets put at center back and they underperform, that's
Mhm.
obviously gonna be the first thing you jump to because you have this brilliant center back. But he's young, obviously. I hope we can see more of him in the next game against Portugal. Just because even if he makes a mistake and makes us go out, he needs
He needs some minutes.
he needs the minutes, and he should have gotten them earlier,
Mhm.
which maybe could have avoided that mistake. But we're obviously now just trying to predict something that probably won't happen. But yeah, let's get to the Panama game. Actually, a little bit more than the England game. But Turina, 10 out of 10, absolutely fantastic. I mean, the soul, our best player alongside with Livakovic and probably Stanisic, our three best players this World Cup, and Petr Sucic. Sorry,
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think of the outfield players, really, it's Batory and Such and Petr Sucic, who have shown up this
yeah,
time around. And I think particularly sort of for Batory, his place in the starting lineup was not solid prior to this tournament. I think it's fair to
no,
say. Obviously he did drift outside during qualification because he wasn't playing at Como.
yeah,
Has come back in and obviously it's a perfect way to get some confidence is to lace in a 22-yard wonder goal into the top corner. But beyond that, he's just been very active, and
yeah,
that's what you need. I mean, even against Ghana, he's on the left. It's not really where he wants to play. Let's be honest,
yeah.
but still performing, and
Yeah, same
that's
thing as in Como. He's not playing at his preferred position, but he's
mhm,
still doing it.
yeah.
Like his skill set is that good that he can do that.
Mhm.
Obviously, would prefer if he was the only man in the middle and the main sole creator, attacking wise. But I mean, he's doing perfectly fine.
Yeah, I mean, as so we'll probably indicate more when we get to the Ghana game. Petr Sucic has had a brilliant tournament so far.
Yeah,
Um, you know, I say a lot of action. I say he's doing that running, but he's doing that running all over, and he's doing well in an advanced position as well. I think against Ghana, it was a little bit more of a 4-3-3
yeah,
because Baturina and Vlasic obviously play those left and right roles narrow. So for Sucic, you have to drop back that little bit because the space you want to go into is going to be congested. But again, you know, him being able to do that work a little bit further forward allows Modric to do that little bit of work further back and
yeah,
to really drop back and quarterback, which we hadn't really seen.
yeah. We'll get to that because that only
Yeah,
happened in the Ghana game.
yeah.
Did not happen in the Panama game, guys. Because in Panama, we tried a box to build up. We tried two center backs and Kovacic and Modric as the double pivot, turned away from the players in front of them, in front of in the attack.
Mhm.
So they had to turn around and get the ball forward, which did not work. And every single time we weren't progressing. The ball was the main issue. No, there was no runs because why would you make a run when the midfielders aren't even turned towards you? And then obviously Shutal and Pograsic also didn't do a good enough job of progressing the ball and taking space that they should have. They, in my opinion, I very rarely did they go forward, get a man to press them, opens up some space, make a pass, and then obviously take control of that space. Which, yeah, as I said, barely happened in against Panama.
Mhm. And I think this positive thing because he was present against England, and I know I'd identified him before the tournament, Karaskia.
Yeah,
Obviously they weren't with him in the Croatia game, but a lot of the pressing that could have damaged that particular tactic from Dalic um, wasn't there because of his absence.
well, thank
So
God.
yeah, if there was a game it could ever get away with it in, it was that one. But I mean, still,
Barely,
yeah,
we barely got away with it. As I previously mentioned, we were against Panama. We were also doing a high press, which was working better than against England, but that's obviously to be expected given the difference in quality of the technical ability of both teams.
mhm,
But Panama, when they got through, it was dangerous. It was
yeah,
it was very dangerous. It was England second half essentially every single time they got through.
yeah. And
Uh,
I think it is probably fair to say that Croatia were fortunate to get the 3 points.
yeah, I mean it's fair to say we somewhat took more control of the match in the second half, but we obviously got. I mean, I wouldn't say lucky. We just had a moment of brilliance of Marko Pasalic and Stanisic combining on the right, and then
Mhm.
Stanisic putting in a perfect cross for Budimir, who does his job as a poacher perfectly.
Yeah, and I mean, again, it's possibly not a positive. It's definitely not a positive in terms of sort of Croatia going forward. But so you give Musa the first game, gets the first half of the Panama game, and like I say, there's the disconnect there, and there's a reason he doesn't get involved. There's a reason he has a bad game.
Yeah,
Budimir comes in, gets the goal, and then starts against Ghana.
yeah,
I wouldn't say he had a great game against Ghana. Brings on Matanovic. Matanovic looks livelier, and then
yeah. But
what are we
it's just
changing?
gonna keep going.
Yeah,
now
it's just
now
a
Matanovic is
circle.
gonna start. Now Matanovic is gonna start. Then whoever comes on again in the second half against Portugal is gonna start if we go through in the next game.
Yeah, it's a weird way to run an attack.
Yeah, it's pretty much like before Ghana, like so after Panama, there were talks about Charles Tatsar starting, so we were just like, oh, we're just throwing stuff at the wall until they stick.
Hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, thankfully that didn't happen. As we said, Charles Tatsar, I do not want to see him. Like nothing against him, obviously perfectly good defender, but he hasn't played. I don't think it's worth risking it, especially when you have Erlich, Guardiol, who I would trust Guardiol more than Chaltetsar right now at center back,
Oh
especially
yeah,
at center back,
absolutely.
because obviously Guardiol won't be left alone to defend a 2v1 on 40 meters like he was against Panama multiple times.
Yeah.
But yeah, what else to say about that game? I mean, I hated everything about it. That first half was one of the like it went by fast, but every single mistake, I was like, Jesus Christ, what are we doing? There was one incident that infuriated me. So Guardiola goes wide, goes forward wide while we're, passing the ball around. Pongracic, Šutalo, Kovacic, Modric. Oh, back to Šutalo, stay on the ball. Now to Pongracic. While we were doing that, Guardiola goes forward. Perisic goes inside, but Turina switches positions with him. And then Perisic makes a run down the middle. Musa's just standing.
Mm.
And Perisic literally pushes him to make a run. Which tells you enough about how slow we were. Like Croatia being slow is not a bad thing. Like I see people already in that game, we're too slow. We're always slow. This is just slow without anything. We
Yeah,
we get
if you're slow with movement and energy, it doesn't really matter because the opposition will have to move around to try and
yeah,
defend you. And so, like, I mean, the classic Croatia, as it were, is a possession-based side that
yeah.
passes the ball around, that takes
We've
their
always been
time.
that.
Yeah,
It's crazy. It's
and
crazy
that's
to me. The people are like, "Oh, we're too slow. We need to be faster." We are faster when we get to the final third. which we didn't do against Panama. And when
Yeah.
we did something. We put in crosses. We were trying to find Waldo in the middle, uh,
Hmm.
Budimir, among six defenders. Marco Pasalic, every single cross was like trying to find Waldo. Budimir, six defenders in a box. No, like Perisic on the far side of the box, on the other side. That's it. That's everything we had in the box. So obviously there's no end output when we weren't putting men in the box, and our main thing was going to the wings. And down the middle we couldn't create anything, as the only way we got forward was down the wings when we did a 1-2.
Yeah, possibly it's almost sort of a reaction to England to play that artificially narrow, artificially slow, artificially crap manner of play because you're scared of being broken on. You're scared of being, um, that sort of the high turnovers. You're
Yeah.
scared of you're playing with a little bit within yourself because you're playing with a little bit of fear, which obviously once you got 3 points in the bag went away.
Yeah.
I think I think you're sort of right, as you say, in terms of the Panama game, has almost been a case of throwing stuff at the wall and see what sticks, and then actually, when you get onto Ghana, you find that the thing you should have thrown on the wall in the first place is just how you normally play.
How you normally play, which
Yeah.
guys, this is how we knocked out Brazil. This is how we beat France in the Nations League, 1 year ago now,
Hmm.
1 year and a half almost. This is how we, this is how we competed. This is how we almost beat Spain in the Nations League final. This is how we did anything, like anything in the last 8 years that we did successfully. This is how we did it.
Yeah.
So it's like I do like the free at the back just generally, but obviously we tried it, didn't work. Go back to the basics, and obviously the Panama game was, we tried doing it like Modric and Kovacic were still good, like still in their prime when they are not.
Hmm.
But we changed that against Ghana. Against Ghana, we started with the same like four with the box
Mm.
of the two defenders and Kovacic and Modric. But then after like 15th, 20th minute, Kovacic drops back to be like the left side of center back in the build up. We do a little bit better, and then we change Modric to that position, and then everything changes, and we get completely better because Modric is obviously a much better passer
Yeah.
than Kovacic.
I mean, I think it was a bit of a weird one. I mean, it obviously plays into the format of this particular tournament in that, you know, you knew what was needed ahead of the game.
Yeah,
And I think most people coming into the game will probably have sat down and thought, this is going to be nil-nil.
yeah, same thing.
And it wasn't. But until the first hydration break, commercial break, however you want to call it, um, it was very much that, oh, this is not going to entertain one
Yeah,
bit. I think aside from Vlasic's shot that clipped the post.
yeah,
But I mean, even then, if you're, I don't want to say arranging a draw, that's absolutely the wrong term. But you'd be like, oh yeah, you have a few really low XG shots. That's fine. I think possibly what complicated that game and made it more of a contest was England being crap elsewhere.
yeah,
And so as the game develops, then you're like, okay, actually, if we win this, we might win the group
yeah,
and get a better route through. Because again, at this point, second or third, Colombia or Portugal, much of a muchness. I think it's fair to say. Um, you nil-nil benefited everyone. Obviously, that's not what happened. Like I say, come out from the hydration break, and Suchich almost immediately rifles it in, and you can sort of see, as you say, it gets that bit of confidence, and it was almost as if you could witness Croatia playing themselves into form.
yeah. It was exactly like that. It was like, oh my god, we can actually play good. We can actually do our football and get results.
Yeah,
Which
and
Sucic, chance after chance. Obviously, Vlasic getting the post early on. I'm like, this is how we should play. This is how we should have done it. Like, okay, against England, I was a bit of a fan of starting Vuskovic, trying to see with the free at the back, but I was hoping that we wouldn't press high. I was hoping more about mid block as we did against Ghana. which
Mhm.
turns out is actually the best way for us to defend.
And like I say, so once you get, you know, Kovacic had a poor tournament. If you were talking purely on the merit of the two performances prior to that game,
Yeah,
Kovacic should not have been starting.
no,
Um, but again, plays himself into form, and you get, as he sort of indicated, that cycling going forward of them dropping back to defence, collecting, quarterbacking, and
yeah,
starting the moves with the midfield rather than passing around more
passing
so.
around and just waiting for something to magically happen.
Yeah, and then once that starts going, it's quite hard. It's hard for Ghana to stop. It was very difficult for Ghana to stop. They didn't
Yeah,
really stop it all night. Um, but more to the point, it naturally it picks the pace of the game up. It makes it harder to defend. It just adds so much.
yeah, and also very surprised to see Vlasic. Obviously, if anybody's followed my Twitter since the early days, should know that I am the Vlasic fan. I am behind that man all the time. How good he was during his CSK Moscow days is the time I want to go back to, and how good he was for the national team early on. That game against Slovakia, where he was the man of the match, lives in my head rent free. Uh, but I was very surprised. I loved people that were saying, "Oh, what is Vlasic starting? Why is he do?" And he had a very good season at Torino. He's obviously the captain of the club when Zapata isn't playing, which is becoming more and more since Zapata is, getting older and older. Not at that level, so he's the captain of Torino essentially now. But had a very good season, and just obviously very similar to Baturin in the way he plays, but obviously more on the right side, as he does also for his club. And he did perfectly fine. Obviously, did much better when we actually changed Sucic, who was for some reason on the wing a lot of the times, and then we switched them. And then obviously Sucic down the middle and Vlasic on the right was the perfect combination. And then obviously Stanic going up forward so Vlasic can go back inside. Worked phenomenally.
Yeah, I mean, I will own up that obviously at the start of the tournament, I was the one who said Vlasic shouldn't be in the squad. But fair play, prove me
Yeah,
wrong. I think again, it was sort of that discussion that was that the side did feel like it had a midfield
too
of too
many.
many.
Yeah,
Yeah, and it
two,
was just
too many.
yeah, and it's just sort of that balance of the squad. Now, as it is, possibly the players that were too many were Fruk and Ehrlich just in terms of being the people who haven't turned up yet.
Yeah,
But I don't think Vlasic had amazing claims prior to the tournament. He does now, and again, sort of like you score the winner. It's that boost of the confidence, and he's very much a form player.
yeah. I mean, this season against Torino, he had like for Torino, he had like 5 straight games of goals or assists,
Mhm,
and that's I actually probably 7. I think uh, that's him. If he's in form, he is the best player on the pitch.
mhm. But which is a problem when he's not.
Yeah, which is a
Um,
problem when he's not. But he's still in the game before he even scored. He was doing very good.
yeah,
Just tracking back, doing everything as he was supposed to. No mistakes. Just did his job.
yeah, and as, I mean, like you say, you obviously mentioned Stanisic again. He is not a wing back, which was ultimately the
No,
failing of the
obviously.
four of the three, is that he's not a wing back in any way, shape, or form. I mean, I think probably prior to the game, I was expecting it to be Marko Pasalic there
Yeah,
on that right, just because again, if you've got Budimir there, you have a big man to hit, so you sort of naturally think hit towards the big man. But
yeah,
I mean, unlike Musa, Budimir's a little bit smarter in terms
yeah.
of having a little bit
He's
more
more
awareness
used
of
to
who's
it.
around him.
He
Yeah,
he's more used to it because also Sura, it's literally just cross, 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 cross. Oh, he scored.
yeah, and
He's used to getting crosses all the game, so he's obviously more accustomed. While Musa is playing at the MLS, where every single goal highlight is either a mistake or an okay goal, which but like it's mostly mistakes.
yeah, and I mean again, Perisic had another great game.
Yeah,
I think of
I
anyone
mean,
he's probably the one who's not had a bad game this
Yeah.
tournament. Whatever way they want to play, he just runs and does his thing. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think he takes it on to Portugal, um, which is an interesting one. So I've made the crack. Obviously, in the last game, Modric became the oldest player ever to make an assist at a World Cup finals.
Yeah.
Ronaldo's not eligible because he doesn't pass the ball. Um, so it's very much that sort of yin and yang of how you feel about veteran players in terms of, the neutral good versus the evil, I suppose,
The
of
chaotic
Ronaldo.
evil.
Yeah,
Let's go into all D&D roles.
yeah,
But yeah, I Ronaldo is obviously I've seen people like, oh, Ronaldo is gonna tear you apart. I'm like, he's the reason why Portugal didn't win their group. Well,
yeah.
there's other reasons. Portugal just not creating anything. He's part of that. But
Mm.
it's shocking to me that he played every single minute so
Well,
far.
it's not to me.
Well, no, no,
I,
no, but
I
like
think it's
I'm just
just
like
it's the
from
status of
Martin.
it from.
Yeah, like it's the status, but still, like 30 minutes for Ramos. Just give another striker a go
Oh,
if you're not
absolutely,
scoring. I was just
absolutely.
like,
I mean, it's
why? If you're not scoring against Congo, why is he still on? Or, you know, Colombia, it's not working.
and it,
Obviously,
and I
he's
mean it's
not
almost
running.
embarrassing to be coming out at the end of the Uzbekistan game like I'm back, I'm back.
Yeah,
It's
it's kind of
Uzbekistan.
Cannavaro manages them. He did
Yeah.
not do good with Dinamo Zagreb. Who does not do good with Dinamo Zagreb? He's the reason Dinamo bottled the title that year.
Yeah.
We're talking about a guy that bottled the league title with Dinamo. I that you
We're
scored.
talking about a guy who was worse in Croatia than Gattuso was, and we saw what Gattuso did in Italy.
Yeah, and Cannavaro got sacked before Gattuso,
Yeah. I mean, I think
which
this is the thing with Ronaldo is I think there's sort of two elements. One, Martinez was not necessarily a great hire for Portugal, purely
no,
from the
yeah,
perspective that who was looking at what he did at Belgium and thinking,
that's it.
this is the guy. This is the
Yeah,
guy.
the guy that
Y-
didn't win anything or even come close to it with one of the best generations of Belgium ever.
Yep. And from a Ronaldo perspective, also we know the weight he carries in that dressing room. And
Yeah,
I mean, I think it'll be interesting to see what he's doing in 4 years' time because from a purely sort of Ronaldo following perspective, Portugal will be hosting games in that World Cup. Can you really imagine that Cristiano Ronaldo is not going to want to be an
there.
active part in
Yeah,
some way of that World Cup? And he's not got his coaching badges. He's not done a single second of them.
yeah. I
He
I, I don't
he
think he will.
no. So either he's getting waved through and just being made uh, manager without coaching badges. Like, to be fair, does happen with some
Yeah,
players that are high profile enough. You see quite a lot of criticisms of the English FA's system for exactly
yeah,
that, in that they give the spaces to Wayne Rooney and the like, rather than coaches who have been working up and showing their talent elsewhere. Um, or is he just going to carry on playing? It would
anything
not
is
surprise me
possible.
to see a 45-year-old Ronaldo
I
playing
would. I
for.
also wouldn't be surprised if he just like retires for a year, but just comes back to just be a part of the squad.
Just like Michael Jordan in
Yeah,
baseball.
yeah,
It's like, I'm
exactly.
going to
Just
the PGA Tour for a year, lads.
next year, guys, I'm in the national team.
Yeah.
Of the how many players are allowed in the squad this year?
26.
26. He's 27th. They
But
make up an extra spot just for him.
I'll just bring him along as number 26, like you brought Vida along at multiple
Yeah, exactly.
tournaments.
Just I mean for morale, but but
Yeah.
but Ronaldo bringing Ronaldo on for morale, team morale. But yeah, I watched that game against Colombia right after our against Ghana, and I'm like, this guy is like not even close to what Portugal needs. Like Portugal attacks, like right wing. I forgot what let's say Pedro Neto runs down the right. makes a run from their half to their opposition half, comes to the final third. Ronaldo is still on the halfway line, slowly jogging. Fedorento cuts back, puts it up all for him at the top of the box. Ronaldo is obviously not going to reach that, even though he's now at full speed, finally, running. But there's three other Colombia players at the ball already, which, and other times, it's just. The goals against Uzbekistan were good, but it's Uzbekistan and he got in okay positions. And obviously, when Ronaldo gets in a good position to shoot, he's probably going to score. But against defenses that did their job, Congo, Colombia, he wasn't even close.
Yeah, I think that's it. The talent, the craft, the power that Ronaldo has in his shot. That's not really dimmed, but the
Yeah,
explosivity definitely has. And if you are a player like Ronaldo who is so absolutely, he's an absolutely incredible athletic specimen,
yeah,
but you rely on that athleticism to get yourself into position. Whereas, with let's think Messi, um, you know, he never had to rely on being faster than anyone or being stronger than anyone or being able to jump
no,
higher than anyone. He just drifts into his positions, and you have a better chance at longevity than that, because at the end of the day, your eye will undisputably let you down at some point. And the fact that they can go on until 40, as much as, and still sort of have that eye in for a pass is freakish,
yeah,
but it declines after your body does.
yeah, obviously. And Ronaldo is still a good striker, but the way Portugal is using him, he is obviously not that. I think Portugal would be much more dangerous if Ramos or even Guedes. I don't think who's probably played like a couple of games for Portugal. I think they would be much more threatening. They probably would have won the group
Mhm.
because of goals scored against the Congo and Uzbekistan. But oh well. I if Ronaldo plays the full 90 minutes, and if we go to extra time, I have a feeling he's gonna play the whole 120 because it's Ronaldo, and
Yeah.
it truly looks like Martinez is just there to get him goals
Mhm.
and
Yeah,
get him and just make him the vocal point of the team, trying to go as far as possible.
I think that's the thing. So we compare them to England, because you would compare them naturally in terms of the FIFA ranking.
Yeah,
You know, the reason why Portugal are not as much of a threat to Croatia as England is because Ronaldo isn't dropping back into the intelligent positions Kane drops back. Ronaldo
yeah,
isn't pulling anyone out of defence to go and follow him and make someone have to drop back and cover. Um, you have a side that is naturally going to play into Croatia's lines rather than play between them,
yeah,
and that is a much less dangerous prospect for Croatia, because quite simply, you're actually going to be able to get time on the ball. Ronaldo is not going to be sprinting to try and take out Shuttle. In defense, he'll have time to get a pass off, and then they'll have time to get another pass off, and then again, so as we saw against Ghana, it gets that cycle going. It gets that cadence, that metronome that as a
yeah,
midfielder you need to have in you.
yeah. And Portugal's midfield is fantastic. Probably among the best in the world right now. I mean, Vitinha, Neves, and Fernandes are just filthy to even say out loud. But obviously, when you have Ronaldo up front, who's gonna constantly just be a player less in build up, like he's
Mhm.
not gonna provide anything except just being on the back line and trying to push the back line as far as possible. But if we're gonna be in a mid block, Ronaldo isn't gonna be a threat unless they get the ball to the wingers and they can cross a ball.
And I think that's the thing, like you say, it is a very, very talented Portuguese midfield, but they
Yeah.
haven't really looked it.
No, they. I mean, they didn't create anything against Colombia, against Congo. Obviously, barely created anything.
Mhm.
And I mean, as you said, it doesn't help that they have Ronaldo in there, because if you had Ramos or whoever who was actually mobile, doing Ronaldo's job much better, because one, they're younger, they're faster, they're healthier, they're fitter. they would be much more threatening because they would be constantly making runs, pulling players out of position, having players follow them in behind, or even dropping back, making a pass 1-2, and getting some space. With
Yeah,
Ronaldo, he's just relying on them getting the ball to him,
yeah. If
which
you've got
is much tougher because you have to take all that space that's left by Ronaldo not dropping back or making a run. You have to somehow do something with that.
Yeah, you have to have someone up alongside them.
Yeah,
It's the answer. You know, you look at how Bosnia have done it in terms
yeah,
of again,
exactly.
Dzeko's less mobile than Ronaldo. You know,
He is not even close. It's not even
but
close.
but he can still do a very good job because he's got,
Yeah.
as we saw against Qatar, he's got Demirovic doing all the running for him,
No, Demirovic
and
is in that part of this game is flawless.
yeah, there's lots of places where in his game which are flawed, but
Yeah.
you know, sort of how he runs himself into the ground as a team player to allow other players to. And I think
Yeah.
that, you know, it's one thing that a lot of people, you know, if you sort of just, if it maybe, it's not even to say like a more casual fan watching or anything like that, you know, if you are putting in a very good selfless performance, it sometimes just doesn't stand out at all.
No, I
And
mean, yeah, that's
that's
always got it. That's like
that's what Portugal
Busquets.
need,
Yeah,
but they don't
just
have that.
yeah, it's like player like Busquets or just anybody who's not really, you know, I mean Modric, for example, who aren't getting goals and assists, who are not putting in that final pass because they're many times not in those positions. But get that help you get there. Demirovic, same thing, helps you get the ball to Dzeko, to Bayraktarovic, to Alajbegovic, same thing.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, Portugal. Obviously, I'm scared, as I said, but I would much rather face them than Colombia.
Yeah, I think I sort of say, obviously, you beating Colombia recently, like I said, it was a friendly.
Yeah,
Um, it was an experimental squad on Croatia's part in terms of how they set up at the back, and you know, I can't remember the Colombian lineup, but I'm sure it was fairly rotated as well. Um, so I think it's much of a muchness. The this squad, you know, I think Croatia would have beaten Colombia. Um, Purely from a qualitative perspective.
yeah,
Against Portugal, there is a bit more of a mental block in respect of Portugal's record against Croatia is
yeah,
exceptional.
yeah. Only
Um,
only one loss, and that's a friendly before the last Euros.
yeah, so that's quite a difficult thing to have to try and overcome. But I mean, again, you know, what from Portugal this tournament have we seen that suggests they're going to be um, better than Croatia? And if they do get by Croatia, what of Portugal have we seen that suggests they would stand a hope against Spain?
Yeah. Uh, I mean, I don't see them getting past. If they do get past us, they're not getting past the round of 16.
No,
If
no.
Spain somehow doesn't get shocked by Austria, which the chances of that happening are very small. But then again, Paraguay did beat Germany, so you know we were all ready for Germany, France, but oh well, it's gonna be Paraguay in the quarters, guys.
Yeah,
Calm down.
Paraguay, Sweden.
Paraguay, Sweden. But yeah, as I said, I would much rather just face just because Colombia is much more threatening. Their wingers and their attack, just their attack is much more threatening when they get forward, and they're just direct. They're just I want to get past you. If I don't do it, oh well, I'm gonna try again. And if they get past you, it's gonna be a shot at
Yeah,
least.
they're a worse matchup for Croatia.
Yeah,
I definitely agree with that. I mean, I do still think it's quite a hard one to call against Portugal because
yeah.
you know
It's
as
it's a
much as
50.
you say,
It's really a 50-50 for me.
yeah,
Like
as much
nobody's a
as
favorite.
Portugal are flawed, like you say, they're flawed, but they still have some extremely good players.
Like their
Um,
midfield, you just need one great pass it behind, either to Ronaldo or whoever, and that's it.
but you know, so when you get down to it, if you are picking between who's going to have to be able to make an in-game change to win the match, is it Martinez or is it Dalic? You say Dalic.
Yeah, I mean, and also Martinez hasn't. I mean, he had that run in 2018 with Belgium, and that's it.
Yeah, but I mean, even then, like you say, that side should have won a World Cup, not
Yeah,
gotten to the
or at least
semis and then
or at
that's
least
it.
get to the final.
Yeah,
I mean, they got third place. They beat England.
yeah, but I mean, but it's third place,
Yeah,
And I mean, as much as and I'm about to say something that will make Croatians not happy with me, but as much as it's great to win a bronze medal, it who's watching the third, fourth playoff for
yeah. No, nobody except
it, it
the teams playing.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, obviously it's a great achievement, especially for us. I don't think 2018 obviously was the closest, obviously getting to potentially winning it, but sure, should we have won it? Like, just even if our players were at the best, the most healthiest, probably not.
No,
Uh, but just the fact we're winning medals is fantastic. But Belgium, much bigger quality. Players were playing in much bigger size than ours. Uh, Obviously should have done much more than they did. Just one medal at the World Cup is not enough for that squad.
but
If they had gotten
it's
like
less than
free
Croatia.
seven, yeah, if they had gotten like free World Cup, or like a final in the Euros, then that's something to okay, they were close, like
Hmm.
a generation of just almost, but they're not even that.
No,
But yeah, and Martinez obviously. As I say, I'm just shocked that Ronaldo is constantly playing.
but I mean, I think that's sort of it's Martinez. Does he have the personal capital to be able to make a decision like saying we are going to drop you? Because you know you sort of indicated it with Vuskovic earlier. If you don't play
Yeah,
Vuskovic and then you go out, well, then actually, what's the reaction domestically going to be? If you play Ronaldo and then
yeah,
you go out, then you're in big trouble.
yeah. But predictions, even though it's a 50-50 for that
I
game,
think 2-1 Croatia.
2-1.
Yeah, I think pretty similar to the Ghana game. I don't think Portugal are any better than Ghana
Yeah,
overall.
a little bit better, but I think they obviously suit us a lot. Just playing against them, it suits us. We
Yeah.
obviously come close to beating Portugal a lot of times. We need revenge for Lens in 2016. That is a match that we should have won,
Hmm.
realistically looking at it. And just the referee in that game was, if there was VAR in that game, João Mario gets sent off 10 times out of 10.
Hmm.
But oh well. Sadly, VAR was a little bit late, 2 years too late.
Yeah.
But yeah, and that tournament is forever going to be a what if for us, because that team was obviously 2 years younger than 2018, and with that run in the end that happened with Poland Wales to the final, it's like what could have been.
Yeah.
But we need revenge. I want, and we need to be Portugal in a competitive game, not just a friendly.
Yeah, it's absolutely overdue, and I mean, so I say I make the Ghana comparison purely from the perspective that sort of similarly to Ghana, Ghana had a lot of very top class players and a lot of not so top
Yeah,
class players, and I think Portugal are pretty similar. They don't have top class at every single position. I mean, you was obviously banged on about enough, but
yeah,
again, you can look at goalkeeper and across the defence. It's not as strong a Portugal side as we've seen a lot. Yes, it's got an absolutely incredible midfield, but that's one block of
yeah.
the side. It's not
It's one
reflective of the
third,
whole side. Yeah.
1/3 of the outfield. Yeah. I'm saying like 1-0 or 2-1, but after extra time. I think
Hmm.
this is going to extra time at least, or wouldn't be surprised if it goes to penalties. And then do we keep the streak alive of 4 out of 4 penalty shootouts won? Do we now go to the semis by winning 3 penalty shootouts? Wouldn't be surprised, because so far I only know penalty shootouts in the knockout games of World Cup before the
Yeah.
semis.
Well, I mean, I think this. I think the thing with this game is, if Portugal take the lead, you can see Croatia coming back. If Croatia
Yeah,
took lead, I don't think I could see Portugal necessarily having the character to come back into it.
yeah, and I
Um,
think the momentum would be too much on our side by then.
yeah.
I think, like obviously, I would have preferred the third place route for us because you avoid Spain, and that's obviously the
Mm,
big thing here. But at the same time, after winning, I feel much more confident heading into this. Like even against Spain, even if we do go through, then against Spain, I'm like we can do anything.
yeah.
And I think the sentiment in the team would be pretty much the same.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's it, what really would you want in the last 16? Because from the three routes, obviously, like say Spain in the last 16, not good. Mexico in Mexico City in the last 16, you're dealing with
Mm,
altitude as well.
yeah,
That's
not good.
not good. Um, so that third place route, I mean, so as it's opened up, it would clearly have been very nice. But yeah,
Winning games is much more important for the mental state of the players, which
yeah,
obvious I think I prefer this. Just after
mm.
we won, like before, I was like, we probably I'm settling for a draw if I'm the team, but after winning, I'm like, oh yeah, let's go.
And I think the thing with Spain is at some point they will have a bad game. And they haven't had one yet. I mean, people will say about
Well,
Cape Verde, I've
yeah,
watched
but
Cape
they
Verde
they
plenty.
created they created they created
Exactly.
chances.
They created
It was
loads. The
not
defense
that
had an
bad.
incredible day.
Yeah, Vozinha had absolutely saved so many saves. It was Spain did should have won that game 3-0 at least.
Yeah. And if Spain have one of their bad days, then absolutely they're up for the taking. For Austria, possibly not. I haven't been too impressed with them at this tournament.
Yeah.
But again, yeah, if it's Croatia, Spain in the last 16, if it's Croatia, Portugal in the last 16, obviously we hope not. But if it is, they're absolutely capable of having a bad day, and you probably, I mean, I think this is sort of the thing from the Ghana game is that it doesn't really matter how you start a tournament. You go back four
No,
years. How
no,
did Argentina start the 2022 World Cup? They
no.
started it by
Yeah,
losing to Saudi Arabia.
at Spain
Um,
2010.
yeah, so it matters how you finish it, and if you show those motions of playing yourself into form, and let's say it's a good performance against Portugal. It's a 2-1 in 90 minutes. It's reasonably comfortable. Then you're going into the next game on more of a roll. Now it's quite a short turnaround.
Yeah,
Is sort of the one issue. I think it's 3 days, isn't it?
yeah, 3 or 4.
Um, yeah, I think 3 days and 20 hours because it's just
Yeah,
the time
yeah,
differences as well. But yeah, at that point, then you start sort of talking about the conditioning coming into it, and that point, having a 40-year-old in the centre of the midfield becomes an issue, particularly because not only have you got less recovery time in the terms of the actual time,
yeah,
but you also have less recovery time because you then become a traveling circus.
yeah.
Um, it's straight from stadium to stadium. You don't go back to camp after
No,
now. Once you've left Alexandria now, then
that's it.
um, that's it.
No camp. No having
Yeah,
time to settle.
yeah.
Nope. Just
It's
game.
hotels, it's local things. Um, but I think obviously the one thing we haven't mentioned is in terms of the wear as well. Purely because obviously it's Toronto again.
Yeah, it's Toronto again. I've obviously had a good day.
Hmm.
Toronto has a very big Portuguese diaspora. Croatia obviously did show up for that last game, but we're more outside of Toronto. But obviously, I expect to be probably more Portuguese, and Ivory Coast has just equalized.
Hmm.
Uh, but yeah, it's gonna be probably more Portuguese than ours, but are still gonna be at the game. I hope in a
Yeah,
good amount.
I mean it's been almost it's been almost like a home stadium because obviously it's been Bosnia then Croatia then now
Yeah,
Croatia again.
just
Um,
Balkan.
yeah, yeah, which is great because like you say, obviously there are a lot of Portuguese around there. There's a lot of people from the Balkans there as well.
Yeah,
who, I don't think it didn't really show up in the Bosnia game, but there was like 30,000 around the stadium in the fan zones.
Yeah.
All the bloody Canadians have bought the tickets, but you know,
The
but
bloody home country is actually the
yeah,
home country. How
I
how dare
know.
they?
How dare they? But I think it's good to have that support, and obviously it's not necessarily been seen at every game this tournament. But I think they were saying stuff like the tickets were 3.5K to if you want to go and see
Yeah.
this game,
Yeah,
which
the cheapest ticket I read today was like 24 hours ago now. Was 2,200 and like $20, 20 euros. Sorry, the cheapest, which is probably like all the way at the top. One ticket.
yeah. I mean, fortunately, it's not that big a stadium to be fair,
Yeah,
but
it's not that
it's
big, but
different
it's
there
still.
than LA, isn't it? But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, you wouldn't want to be losing 5-0 and then Dutch comes out and says, right, Croatia fans, we're really sorry we've let you down. We'll refund your tickets. Um, bankrupt Modric. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. Pretty much. How would you line up Croatia? Would you change anything from the Ghana game?
um, no, I mean, obviously there's a conditioning question, isn't there? But otherwise, no, I don't think so. I don't see why you would, really. Everything worked really nicely there. The
Yeah.
only potential change you'd want to make is possibly Budimir. But even then, I mean, the actual the question of well, who do you replace him with is not answered. I think Marko Pasalic has been lively every single time, but I
Yeah.
can see why you keep him as a finisher. I don't think there's really anything to change.
Yeah.
The only sort of aspect you would possibly think is then sort of that around about 60 minutes. I think that would be we would probably see a more active bench.
Yeah.
Um, just from the perspective, because if it's still competitive, then you've got to have one eye on the last 16.
Yeah. Obviously.
If you
Uh,
like say 15 minutes to go and you 2-1 up, let's say, at that point you have to make changes. You have to take Modric off. You have to take
yeah.
Kovacic off. They can't really be playing 90 and then get on a plane to go. Is it Dallas? The next one?
Uh,
I can't remember.
I
I think it's
can't.
Dallas again.
I
Um,
I'm not that hopeful to look
yeah.
to look forward that far on.
But no, but I mean, if you have to, but then it's a trans-country fly. It's you
Yeah.
have to sort of look out for the fitness of these guys, and it's a difficult thing to try and balance.
Yeah, like obviously it's wonderful to see Modric against Ghana in the last 10 minutes just blocking everything, intercepting, tackling, just doing everything, but I would rather see him doing that against Portugal in the last 90 against Spain in the last 16, like I would prefer if I obviously phenomenal. I'm not
Mm.
saying like he should have been taken off, but like probably preferred, to rest him since
But
he
if
is he is
like,
essentially a grandpa on the pitch.
yeah, but and that's it. If you go 120 against Portugal, how many of those players are going to be ready to play? Presumably Spain, might be Austria,
Yeah,
3.5 days later.
yeah.
It's a really big ask.
It's a very big ask. It's probably too much to ask
Mm.
because you're asking them to essentially play 2.5 games in the space of 4 days.
Yeah, with basically getting straight on a plane and going down
Yeah,
a few thousand miles. They're on the Iranian schedule pretty much,
yeah.
and we saw how that worked for them.
Uh, Not surprised.
No.
But yeah, I mean, the only like changes, maybe Pasalic instead of Vlasic, but as you said, if this game is gonna go into extra time, 70th minute, if it's tied, or even if we're leading or losing, Pasalic is gonna come on eventually. I'm just sad that he didn't score that chance against Panama. What was he?
Mhm.
What was he doing? Obviously, he tried to lob the keeper, but the keeper hasn't moved. Marco,
Yeah,
the keeper stayed. He hasn't done anything to make you think that he was gonna go down. But
yeah.
yeah, sadly, obviously, it's like literally 1 second. I can see why he went for it. Almost got it. Was very close. Sadly, he didn't put the game away. We survived. He survived, and I mean, overall, that Panama game, he was good. As you said, he
Yeah.
was active. He was getting crosses in. He was trying to hit Budimir, even though sadly Budimir was the only man in the box. If only there was one man in behind him, just there. If Baturin was just right there, maybe something could have, maybe we could have gotten a goal early on in the first half. But as you said, Kovacic and Modric in this system where one of them drops back, Modric preferably because his passing range is much bigger and much better since it's Modric. He can hit balls from the left side of the pitch to the right wing
Mhm.
without an issue, and that's what we need. We need anybody who are gonna play to think, oh, Modric has the ball. Let's take a little back. Let's not give space to Pasalic or Vlasic or Sucic, whoever runs in behind. Let's not give them space on the right side. Let's be careful, and that eventually opens up space for Baturna and Budimir in the middle.
Yeah. Like I say, yeah, I think we both agree. There's just not really any cause to make much in the way of changes, unless
Yeah,
someone's not fit.
yeah. If it worked, it worked. Like Modric, Kocic obviously didn't work in the double pivot where they both were in the same position, just other sides, left, right. That doesn't work. But thankfully this does, and Kovacic is good enough to do this, like to be the sole man in front of the free building up of the giving him the ball, and then he's obviously fantastic into progressing the ball forward. So it's good enough. And if it doesn't work, obviously changes at halftime are almost guaranteed. If it doesn't work,
Yeah, I think that's to be fair to Dalci, he's not been afraid of changing at this tournament. Like you say,
yeah,
obviously
thank God.
against Panama and even against England, he had to try and change the momentum of the game, but
Yeah,
he's at the end of the day, but almost all 26 players will get used. And if they get to the last weekend, then all 26 players will
will get
turn out
used.
at
Yeah,
some point. Aside from Pandor, who's too
yeah.
busy joining Rangers. Um,
Interesting move from Hull, honestly. Pandur, who has been on top of his game the whole championship season, and you're getting jackpotted.
well, it's FFP, isn't it?
Yeah, it's FFP, but still, the goalkeeper.
Yeah, it's not great, but I mean, it's who they could get. It
Yeah,
was 6 million they needed to pay off to get that. So
yeah.
yeah,
Oh well. Uh, Good luck to him. He's gonna need it in Rangers because I mean Croatians have a good history with Rangers, but yeah.
yeah. Leave that one. Jeez. Um,
Well, talking about Scotland.
oh no, don't. I have a South African friend at work, and he was giving me it this morning as well about Scotland. I was like, "You're out as well." I was like, "Well,
Yeah, but
yeah,
he got to the
but
knockout.
we were actually proud of what we did." I'm like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, fuck off." Um, yeah, we were terrible. I mean, I'd said it on here. I'd clipped it and I put it on my blue sky. Before the tournament, we will beat Haiti 1-0, and then we will fail. And that is exactly what we did.
That is exactly
Um,
what happened.
I mean, I obviously stayed up till 4 a.m. to watch that first game,
Yeah.
and I was sat there 3:50 in the morning, sat on the armchair, looking out the window. Light was already breaking, and you seeing Haiti come forward and come forward and come forward, and you're thinking, "Oh my God, am I going to have stayed up
For us to
20,
lose to
22
Haiti.
hours, 22 hours, it's not even already Sunday, it's already Sunday day,
Yeah.
and it's 1-1. And it was a terrible performance. Um, and then I saw the team sheet for Morocco, and it was old classic defensive Clark, and I just knew it would be negative and horrible, and I went to bed instead of watching the game because I didn't need to see it to know what was going to
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah.
The only surprise was that we conceded in the second minute rather than
First.
anything later, because it's exactly the sort of thing that we had done when we were whipped by Greece in Nations League and things like that.
Yeah.
Um, and then obviously Brazil. And I think the annoying thing about Brazil is that for a start, I stayed up to watch it. But more than that, is that we weren't terrible.
No, you weren't until
Um,
McKenna.
yeah, we did fine in possession, but there was this thing. It came up in Euro 2024 after we played Germany, and obviously we lost 5-1 in the opener. And I
Yeah.
spoke to whoever the German manager was at the time, it was still Love, wasn't it? Still Yogi Love. And he
Oh
said, yeah,
yeah.
we'd done all the work, and we knew if we just gave them the ball, they wouldn't threaten us. And when we got it, we destroyed them. And against Brazil, it felt exactly like that. And
Yeah.
Brazil didn't even destroy us. We destroyed
No.
ourselves from
Yeah.
the perspective of, yeah, like you say, Scott McKenna. I don't know what he was thinking.
Yeah.
Um, we shouldn't, Vinny's disallowed goal should not have been disallowed, but it was
No.
more of the same. It's trying to ask the defense to come out and pass it when there's no one there. The midfield aren't moving to make passing moves.
Yeah.
So it's exact opposite of Croatia, really. Where you've got Kovacic and Modric and Perisic, making loads of movement to actually find your passing lane. So if you're a defender, you've always got an option to go to. But
Yeah.
obviously from uh, McLean and Lewis Ferguson weren't doing that. Um, and that's why Brazil kept on kept on just pressing and
Yeah.
having success every time they did. Um, Obviously, then it doesn't get confirmed until after the Croatia game that we were out, but we all knew it.
Yeah.
Um,
Everybody knew.
I'm absolutely fine with Steve Clark having gone. I think done a very he's a very good job in perspective of that we used to not qualify for tournaments. Now
Yeah.
we
And now
just
you
qualify for
have.
tournaments and are the worst side there, which is a problem because I mean this probably wouldn't have made Croatia, but there was two journalists, Tom English and Neil McCann, who used to play for Scotland on the BBC, and they sort of have an argument. English was saying, it's because Scotland aren't technically proficient enough. They aren't this, they aren't that, and McCann just let rip. It was like, did you not see us beat Denmark? Did you, you know, we've got here, McTominay's playing at the top end of Serie A, this, that, and the other. And, I sort of land between the two. This,
Yeah.
as a team, individually, there is incredible technical proficiency within them. You don't score bicycle kicks, with the ball up above, the top of my hand.
Yeah.
That's out of shot. Um, if you've not got incredible technical ability, but as a group, they do not. On the basis of the performances, they do
Do
not.
not. Yeah.
And the problem is we don't have the singularity of purpose. Is Scotland's team sheet better than Bosnia? Yes,
Yes.
yes, it is.
Obviously.
Um, but does Barbares have them playing a very specific way that accentuates their strengths? Also, yes. Do the players like it? If you listen to what's going on in camp, not really. Not so much before the Qatar game, but actually now they're through that, they're kind of okay with it again. Proof's in the
Yeah.
pudding.
Good. Yeah. Like if you win
Yeah,
and you get a historic result, then obviously you're gonna be like, I don't care now.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Let's play really defensively against the USA. That's fine. We just didn't want to do it against Qatar. That's
Yeah.
also fine. Against Cape Verde, again, they're a limited side. There's no doubt about that. Their team sheet is not as good as Scotland's. No doubt about that. They, are they through? Did they get a result against Spain? Yes, yes, they did.
Yes. They got a
Um,
result in all three games.
yeah, and again, that's just because they know how they want to play. They want to
Yeah.
sit. They want to counter. They want to be extremely difficult to beat and extremely fast going forward.
Yeah.
They demolished Serbia pre-tournament and absolutely deserved it. And sort of since then, I've sort of known, yeah, this is a side that will probably get out of the group, and so they have. Scotland don't have that at all, and so that's why as next manager, I want someone who has that, and I
Yeah.
keep on saying it to anyone who asks, it's Ange Postecoglou for me. In terms of his value's a bit depressed at the minute for obvious reasons. Um, but he's respected by all fan bases in Scotland.
Yeah,
Even you go and ask a Rangers fan, they will say, oh yeah, that Celtic side played some incredible football,
yeah.
and the job he did there was incredible. Um, and on top of that, he takes absolutely no BS,
No,
and that,
I mean, first of all, he won a Europa League with Tottenham. He won a
yeah,
European trophy with Tottenham.
yeah.
He did. He's magnificent just in tournaments.
hmm
He knows how to rile up a team, which is exactly what you need at a national team. You don't need tactics. Like tactics are
Yeah,
second hand in national football.
yeah. We don't need Bielsa.
No,
Um, we but
obviously.
obviously, he would be a very interesting pick, but he can retire now. But I mean, I think Ange is the man for me. Whether that's what the Scottish FA go with, I mean, I think the SFA come under a lot of flack for it. To be fair,
Yeah,
the current administration has made one managerial pick, and
yeah.
it
It's
worked out pretty
somewhat
well.
worked. Yeah, it's somewhat
Yeah, I
worked.
mean, because at the end of the day, whatever you want to say about how Scotland performed at tournaments, you get to a
They
World
made it
Cup, you
there.
get 10 million. And
Yeah,
that's 10 million you can invest. That's 10 million you can say, right, okay, we can actually afford someone a little bit more pricey as manager. We can put that into youth football. We can put that into our academies. We can do this, that, and the other. The problem with that logic then is that if they've actually gotten out the groups, that have got an extra, that have doubled it.
yeah, they would. Yeah, we would have doubled it. Also,
So
just the point of qualifying just it helps you as a nation just get more players in and more players like younger players to be more, you know,
it,
interested.
It does, and I mean, sort of, I'll stop talking and start bullying you about your affiliation in a minute. But yeah, I think it is another big bonus for picking the sort of dogmatic, take no BS manager
Yeah,
that Ange is that in 2 years' time at the Euros, Scotland are one of the hosts. Scotland are almost guaranteed to qualify for it because of how UEFA have set up the
yeah,
how the home nations qualify. So this is a 2 year cycle of purely building for the Euros.
for the
And if you want
Euros.
to try a bunch of random players during the Nations League, do that.
Do-
And to be honest, if we don't get Ange, I would also be fine with us nicking Franco Foda from because he's done the job that sort of needs to be done at Scotland at Kosovo, which is experiment with a lot of players, bring in your new bulk, and move on and create a really competitive side.
Yeah.
Anyway, speaking of creating a really competitive side, how
Oh
does Scotland
God.
do that when you tell your best, well, I say best striker, your most marketable player to leave just before the season's over?
Well, okay. Well, we were talking about the World Cup. But the main news in Croatia the last 48 hours now has been Marko Livaja and Hajduk split. How do we do it? I don't know. Main news in the nation. There's a whole ass World Cup going on. We're playing Portugal in 2 days, guys. We're playing Portugal in 2 days. Main talking point is not, oh, who is Dalic gonna start? Oh, Vlasic played well. Oh, but Turna is absolutely amazing. No, 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 no. What's happening with Marko Livaja at Hajduk?
Mm.
So I don't know if I don't know what you know, but
I
to
know he had a good
shortly
night on Saturday.
to shortly cover to shortly cover what happened 2 days ago in Slovenia in Bled. Beautiful, beautiful town, beautiful, just beautiful lake, just beautiful area to be in for a day or two. If you're ever in Slovenia, just go there. Uh, so uh, there's a team building for the whole team. You know, their whole like team building exercise, and then they all stay and watch the Croatia game against Ghana. So obviously that's late for us. That's 1 a.m. You're staying up until 1 a.m. And then everybody should have gone to bed and be up at the morning for training because it's preseason. The season for Hajduk starts in just over a week. Next Thursday, that's when the season starts when you play Žilina and in Europa League. Uh, but no, Livaya and seven other players decided we're gonna have another drink. We're gonna stay a little bit more out. Uh, Garcia found out, came then and was like, guys, this is gonna obviously you're gonna be punished for this. And then he and the sporting director, Graf, the new sporting director, decided to instead of giving them wage cut, they decided they're gonna run it in the morning, just a few miles around the track, around the pitch, and that's it. Anyways, Livaja and the seven players start running. Livaja, in the midst of his running, is like, "Fuck this!" Starts yelling at Garcia, starts probably swearing at him, and then at Graf, who is probably also on the pitch, and leaves training. For a captain to do that, obviously, whatever he has done for the club, which is more than any player has done in the last 20 years, you cannot do that. As a captain, it is unacceptable to, for whatever reason, and we've known that he's been on the outs with Garcia the whole season. We know there have been bouting heads. There's been multiple times where Livaja has gone into a press conference and said, "Oh yeah, I don't agree with the style of football, but the coach says so, so I'm playing. I I can play that." Obviously, Garcia also a few times poked at Livaja and that he just preferred Chego, which is very obvious. Uh, but yeah, and this also stems from even from a year ago now, when Vucevic came in, but Vitali hired Garcia. Vucevic didn't like Garcia. In the end, Vucevic left, so now we brought in Graf. But the problem with Vucevic was Vucevic promised Levi a new contract at the, during the last whole season before Vucevic agreed to leave, like 3-4 months ago now. I forget the exact time. Vucevic was constantly telling Levi, "We're gonna get you a new contract. You're gonna get it. Don't worry." Uh, they were probably even talking about getting rid of Garcia. I'm just guessing here. They probably were, because Vucevic yesterday posted a post on Instagram in support for Livaja, which kind of tells you where he stands on the issue. But yeah, Vucevic in the end left Livaja. Then Livaja's contract was up in the air. Just Bilic got asked, the president, and he essentially just said, "Oh, we're gonna talk with him." And then Livaja says, "I agreed to a contract 3 times. I haven't signed one yet." But yeah, and then eventually the all boils down to not being done on time. This should have all been resolved. Levi and Garcia should have sat down with Graf when he came in at the end of the season and been like, "Okay, do you want to play under Garcia? If not, we're gonna make your exit a swift exit. You're gonna probably get a testimonial game in the preseason, and you're free to go. You're allowed to find a new team. You can probably play a last game for Hajduk, and you're free to go. Totally fine. I am totally fine with that, because obviously the board supports Garcia, Bilic supports Garcia, and that's the reason why Garcia didn't leave, because Vucevic very much wanted him to leave. But yeah, and it's all boiled down to Hajduk just kicking this rock down the road and eventually escalating to this, where after Livaja obviously left training, even before that, he refused to do the photo shoot for the new kit, and then refused to sign the new disciplinary rules for the season. So, captain.
Yeah.
Obviously, he refused that, and then Hajduk just literally said, "You go back to Split. You're not gonna train with the team for the next couple of days until we return to Split. So he's gonna miss out on one friendly, I think, and I think 4 more days of training. And that's and I'm interested how he got back to Split. I hope his agent was there so he could have given him a drive, because Livaja does not have a driving license. And I saw a comment. I saw a comment. I saw a comment on Croatian Twitter. Somebody posted, it's like when those kids on excursion, like in high school, we have like one big excursion when you go to like most likely Prague or Vienna, and then when some kid does something terrible and the school is like, calls his parents, "Come pick him up." That's probably how Hajduk did it with Levi, and called his wife and were like, "It is, come pick your man up."
It's like the Uruguayan FA with the players after getting knocked out.
Yeah,
like, nope,
exactly. It's
private
like, nope,
flights cancelled, guys.
guys,
You're getting EasyJet.
Nope, you gotta pay for Ryanair. Go on. Cheapest flights if you want to save money. But yeah, no, it's very sad, because Hajduk has just kept kicking this rock along, and it's constantly just the wrong decisions. Like Vitali brings in Garcia, Vucevic comes in, Garcia obviously is a man. We keep Vucevic around. Vucevic keeps talking to Livaja, promises him a new contract while he's obviously not the player Garcia wants. And then we get this.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, you know, we've mentioned Livaja a lot just in general because you do because he's obviously been around for what let's say 5.5 years.
Yeah.
And you know, one of the things that always come up is, you know, what happens when he's not there? You know, how do you have this over reliance on him? Well, now actually they've got to prove it. And, yeah, he's obviously he's not going to play for the club again. Obviously,
Well, today I don't know if you saw Hajduk released a statement. Well, obviously, we're gonna get into it, but
mhm,
Index got reported yesterday that Livaja and his manager are gonna talk to Hajduk and agree on a way out.
mhm,
Today, Hajduk posted a statement. Oh yeah, we haven't talked to him yet. We're gonna talk to him and talk about his status, but we count on him. He's gonna continue training with the squad when the team returns to split at the
mhm.
end of the week. He's gonna
He's not apologizing, is he?
no, we're counting on him, and I'm like, so you're counting on him, but you haven't talked to him.
Mhm,
Like it's been 2 days. This perfectly goes to show crisis management at Hajduk, which doesn't exist, obviously, since we've been pushing this crisis as far as it can go. And obviously, when you push a crisis as far as it can go, it's gonna boil into a eruption, which it
mhm,
has. Uh, and yeah, there's no way he apologizes because obviously he doesn't agree with Garcia. Garcia
mhm.
doesn't agree with him. The only way this could work is if Hajduk had some kind of result this season. If Hajduk won the cup, this probably wouldn't have happened. You know, you win the cup,
Yeah.
Livaja scores a goal, something happens, some good result to overshadow the fact that. But the fact is, we finished second. We got knocked out of the cup in fantastic Hajduk fashion,
Mhm,
and we got no results. And in the end, obviously, you can just be negative for you can just be negative. There's reasons to be negative. There's also things to be positive about what Garcia has built. One of the better point scoring seasons for Hajduk in the last 5 years, although not competitive just because Dinamo was way above. But you finished second very comfortably.
mhm,
You played Hrgovic, you played Shego, you played Pukstas, you played Sigur. All of them, you played Mlacic in the first half of the season and sold them in the winter, which is we haven't done that since Biuk and Ljubicic. Uh, we just we're back on track on doing what we were doing like 3-4 seasons ago, selling young players on, and now we're obviously because of what Lukša Jakobušić did, high risk, high reward. There was no reward for us,
mhm,
so we're now we gotta go low risk with which Graph specializes in, and we've already, which I'm surprised by, we've done a good amount of transfer business. And 3 days ago, well, 2.5 days ago, I was like, oh, I'm really looking forward to this season, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how the squad plays. I even watched the friendly against the Ukrainian side. I already forgot their name.
mhm.
Elena, I forgot.
Alessandro,
Watched
was it?
no, it wasn't Alexander. It was like Cherkasy, I think.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, and I was boring match. Not we didn't really do our job well, but I wanted to see Van Horenbeck, Akandapai, and just wanted to see those players play because I'm interested, and I like their profiles. Just like
Mhm,
hey, cheap players that we got on almost a free. Van Horenbeck we paid like 200,000, but that's in many installments. It's
yeah.
actually crazy how many installments we're paying 200K in, but yeah, obviously Hajduk is now moving away from that generation who won 2 cups, Krovinovic, Sharlia, and obviously now Livaja, most likely 99%. I do not see a world where he stays, and if he does, it can only get worse. Like it's just gonna lead into another eruption
Mhm.
of an argument or anything.
Yeah, I mean, I think from a Livaja perspective, I think purely it's just going to be right. Okay, well, I'll go and play in the UAE then, or somewhere like that. You know, I think that's,
Yeah,
I think his career in Europe is possibly done. You know, unless someone in Greece wants to take a punt on him. But I
yeah.
mean, I think it's probably Middle East, and then 2 years time he turns up at Gustoshia. Um,
When they're in the high
um,
NL qualifying
yeah.
for Conference League.
Um, I mean, I think it is. It's you don't want to say it's a positive for Hajduk, but obviously you've listed so many things there that are not necessarily the behaviours you want of your captain.
No.
And that's obviously something that Garcia inherited and has had to deal with.
Yeah.
It's obviously he is a big salary. We
Yeah.
can't.
The biggest by a far, by a
Yeah,
big mile.
and like I say, if you are in a change of strategy, actually getting his salary off the books is probably a pretty good idea, and they'll get well, three players in for him and have some money left over.
Yeah.
So there's definitely positives there. But obviously, it happening right now is not the best
Obvious.
thing.
No. No.
It's
As
it's just
it should
it's
have been
one of
done way earlier.
yeah. It's one of those weird things. Sometimes you do see it quite often in football. You have this weird eruption at a silly point pre-season, and then
Yeah.
actually that's the thing that galvanizes everything to go on for the following season.
Well, I
I'm not
hope.
necessarily sure that's what happens here
We
because
had
he needs
something.
to replace him, but
We had something similar when we lost to Gzira. Right, like right before there was.
mhm,
I was too young back then to really follow it, but I think it was something to do with Koyun. Koyun, I forgot what function he had, but got sacked, and then Oreshcharin was like sent support to him after Hajduk sacked him. And obviously Hajduk didn't like that. And we're just waiting for the chance to pounce on Oreshchanin, and you could feel
yeah,
the tension. And then Gzira happened, and Oreshchanin, who was doing a perfectly fine job, by the way, as a manager back then at Hajduk, got sacked because of a loss that I wouldn't even blame him an ounce for.
yeah,
But yeah, it's Hajduk. I am not surprised. Like this was, as I said, this was just kicking the can down the road, and then the can just bursts all of a sudden. But it was to be expected.
yeah,
The problem now is a good a good portion of the fan base, which includes a big part of my family, which makes me worried for the people in my family that are behind Livaja here.
mhm,
Which, like, I do understand. Livaja is Hajduk. Hajduk is Livaja. Livaja literally is Hajduk, like embodied, and that's why he has become what he has. Technical ability of a world class player, but obviously the mentality obviously is not of a professional footballer. Because if it
mhm.
was, he would do the
We
running,
wouldn't
and
be in this situation.
we wouldn't be in the and he wouldn't be at Hajduk first of all.
Mhm,
But obviously he is your captain, and it tells you a lot about the club. I like Livaja as a player is fantastic, but as a player, as your captain, you probably don't want that. You want like Lovre Kalinic, for example, who has been at the club for so long and knows every. Obviously, Livaja also knows what the club means, but it's just he's not the professional type. He's not a leader. He after every loss, after every big loss, Levi didn't step up in a press conference and
mhm.
say what happened and say what went wrong, or even just addressed anything. But after a win, Levi is there,
Yeah,
and I'm not trying to shit on him. He is my favorite player of Hajduk in the last 5 years. I have 3 of his jerseys in my closet right now, uh, which he is Hajduk,
mhm,
but at some point, and especially now when Hajduk is building something that worked for a good portion of the
mhm,
season without him when he was injured. We saw that it can work, and there's no reason to not believe it won't, because we've seen glimpses of it. And if we can train it and we can get the right players in, it's gonna most likely work.
mhm,
But with Levi, obviously, he doesn't want to play that, and it's very obvious, as we've
mhm.
said, with Vucevic, with everything. It's very obvious in the last 365 days that he does not want to do that, and
And if you
it
see
should
your
have been.
captain not buying in, why would you?
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. And we can talk about Bruno Zurdo, for example, who has embodied a similar lifestyle as Livaja, getting tattoos, not really focusing on the football, hasn't really stepped up, and didn't really play under Garcia, which isn't a surprise considering that from the stories I've heard, what he does, just goes out, doesn't really,
Mhm,
like football didn't look like the main thing in his life. Like after Gorica, after he scored those 2 goals, it didn't really, it, like he is a professional player, but Hajduk isn't really a professional club.
Yeah.
It's everything that happens at this club really feels amateur. It feels like it happened down the road in Ploče at Jadran.
Mhm.
Jadran just signed with Jako Sport for new jerseys, which is like, wow, like we got Jako Sport who does a good amount of jerseys in the country, and even for Bayer Leverkusen. But we need to be a professional club first of all. That's like the main thing. Misla Karogalan is the main example that I'm gonna use when
Mhm.
the club wasn't professional and if we were in a title race that we should have won.
Yep.
We were first place. We had so much momentum heading into that winter. We signed Perisic, we signed Brekalo,
Mhm.
and Mislav Karogalan was a man of the players. He was, the guy who was there for the players, who let them beat themselves, who didn't take any control. He was just with the players, which can
Mhm.
work with the right type of players, with the right type of personalities. But with Hajduk's personalities, you need somebody who's gonna step up and be the man in charge and be like, you cannot do that. You're a professional player. You have to focus on the football. Ivan Leko was that. He got
And so what
sacked.
happened? Yeah.
We saw what happened. Obviously nothing helps Hajduk. Like everything I say now, it doesn't help you that you have no facilities. You have one training ground. Poljud is a mess. Nothing is going to Hajduk's favor, is what I'm trying to say.
Mhm.
So hopefully we can now focus if when Livaja leaves, because I think it's a when, it's not an if. Even though Hajduk is saying that he's still a player they count on, even though they
Mhm.
haven't talked to him, which I think is a massive contradiction. Because it's like me saying, "Hey guys, Richard is gonna be on the next episode next Monday at 7 p.m." without even asking you.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's Hajduk. I just hope we can move on and focus on this part, which works good. Graf and Garcia
Yeah.
are a good fit. That's a good fit. Bilic believes them. We can get in the point of Bilic, who has done a questionable job, but hiring Garcia and Graf is a good combination, and we should focus on that for this season and the season ahead if Garcia stays. And if he doesn't, get a man that does the same thing
Yeah.
and just focus on that and just focus on getting young players and selling them for a profit, free transfers, selling them on for a profit, and we're back on zero, and then we can maybe spend a bit more money than we should and try again, high risk, high reward, but that's down the line. God knows where we'll be then.
Mhm.
And this season we have a chance to maybe do something in Europe if the team plays well enough. But that's
Come on.
that's not gonna happen
That's not
because
Hajduk.
yeah, that's not gonna happen. But Žilina we should get past, and then Puff was most likely if we beat Žilina. If we get past that, we can somewhat dream of making it.
Yeah.
If we can beat Pafos, then I think we should be getting into a least conference league, obviously. But that's
Oh,
that's a
you would.
month. That's a
Be in the
month
playoff.
away. No.
Oh
Pafos,
no,
we
sorry.
would
Yeah,
then be
that's
we would be in the third qualifying round. We start from the first.
yeah.
But yeah, from looking forward to the season to being like, oh god, here we go again.
I'm
Yeah,
sure that's what everyone watching and listening is thinking. Here we go again.
yeah,
They
yeah.
probably were an hour and 3/4 ago.
Yeah. But yeah. Anyways, World Cup. Just focus on the World Cup for the next 2 weeks. I mean, Hajduk is in a week and a half now. Well, even less. But hey, just focus on World Cup. Don't mind Hajduk. They're doing
Yeah.
their own thing. But yeah, I've got my rant off. You got your rant off. Croatia, Portugal, main thing.
We'll
When
both
that
rant
game
about
had,
that next time.
yeah. Well, if we lose, then it's yeah. I mean, I would call it an unsuccessful tournament because I think round of 16 is like the thing that we can do, and
Mhm.
I'll be like, oh yeah, this is okay. Top 16
Yeah.
nations of the world. That's where we are.
Yeah.
Anything more is a big plus,
Mhm.
especially considering that we do not have a healthy Guardiola or Kovacic, and yeah, it's pretty much just that. If we had a healthy Guardiola and healthy Kovacic, I think we would 100% be in the quarters. But yeah. Anyways, thank you for listening, and we'll be back after the Portugal game, right? Like, probably right after, but we'll see if we get through. If not, maybe
It
we'll
has to be
wait a
right
few more
after to get it
days.
in before the round of 16. But yeah,
Yeah, yeah, we would have to be very quick.
yeah.
If I'm not able to get you in, I'll probably try to get one of the other guys in that I'm constantly talking to about from Creation Sports.
You
Uh,
cheating on me?
well, well, they call me. I do not call them, but now what would change. But yeah, if you're not available, I'll check with some others. But if
I've
this
not got
podcast
Scotland
that
games to watch, so
if this podcast doesn't happen, hop on to creationsports.com. I'm hopefully gonna be on there if a pod happens after Portugal. No pod after Ghana now, so creationsports.com, no podcast. But you have
yeah.
me and a Scottish guy.
The consolation prize.
Yeah. But yeah, thank you for watching and listening to 80% of this podcast about the World Cup, and then 20 about us having rants about our own things that we were bored into. Sadly,
Yeah.
of all the things to be bored into, I would rather be a Scotland fan.
I
What
mean,
would you
it
choose?
could be worse. Could be
Scotland?
a Scottish Hajduk fan.
Oh, God.
That would be misery into misery.
And Rangers.
No, steady on.
That would be. I think that's like
You've
the
had
worst.
your fun.
That's like the worst possible combination. But yeah, thank you for watching and or listening if you're on Spotify, and we'll catch you after Portugal.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.